Welcome all of you. Welcome to today's class of Environmental Sciences. I am Rosalind Mishra, and in today's class we shall be dealing with types, introduction, structure and various aspects of grassland ecosystem. So now, what is a grassland ecosystem? Without much ado, let's look into the details about grassland ecosystem. Grassland ecosystem are one of the earth's major biomass and the native vegetation which makes up to 40% of earth's terrestrial surface. 40% of earth's terrestrial surface. Grasslands occur on every continent, namely or except Antarctica. They are ecologically and economically important. They provide critical ecosystem goods and services at local, regional and global scales. Grasslands are surprisingly diverse and difficult to define. We cannot define certain areas of a grassland. Although grasses and other grass-like plants are the dominant vegetation in all the grasslands. Grasslands also include a diverse assemblage of other plant lives that contribute to their species richness and diversity. Many grasslands also support a diverse community of animals, including some of the most species which are grazing food webs on the planet. Grasslands allocate a large proportion of their biomass below the ground, resulting in large roots to shoot ratio. Okay. They have a larger proportion of roots below the soil. So, the proportion of root to shoot ratio is higher here. This pattern of biomass allocation coupled with slow decomposition and withering rates leads to significant accumulation of soil organic matter and often highly fertile soils. Climate, fire, grazing are the important drivers that affect the composition, structure and functioning of the grasslands. In addition to the independent effect of these factors, there are many interactions among grazing, fire and climate. Grasslands occur under a broad range of climatic conditions, though water is generally limiting for some part of the year in most of the grasslands. The grasslands are sensitive to climate variability and climate changes. They are extremely sensitive vegetation areas. There are well documented shifts in the distribution of North American grasslands in response to past droughts, and both observational data and experiments suggests that grasslands will be affected by future changes in rainfall and temperature. Fire is a common occurrence which is grazing away our grasslands. In more Mersey grasslands, due to large accumulations of dry, highly combustible fine fuel in the form of dead plant material, fire is a very dangerous source which could eliminate the grasslands. Fire affects virtually all ecological processes in the grassland, from the physiology of individual plants to the landscape level patterns, though the effect of fire vary with grassland productivity and the accumulation of detritus. All grasslands are grazed or have experienced grazing as a selective force at some point in their evolutionary history. All grasslands have suffered this terminology which we call grazing. The ecological effects of grazing vary with climate and plant productivity, and the associated evolutionary history of grazers in different grasslands can be seen here. Okay. The remnant grasslands can be seen in this graph or the global graph, where the pink denotes the global shrublands or the open shrublands, sorry, the closed shrublands. The light yellow ones are the open shrublands. The green ones are the woody savannas. The yellow ones are the savannas. These are the grasslands. So, this is how our grassland is diversified in the globe. Okay. So, these are the remaining grasslands. Grasslands have been heavily exploited by humans, and many temperate grasslands are now among the most threatened ecosystems globally. Widespread cultivation of grasslands was the major land use change that impacted the grasslands historically. While multiple global changes, drivers, that is altered fire and grazing regimes, woody plant encroachments, elevated carbon dioxide, invasive species, fragmentations, etc. These are the global change drivers for the grasslands. They contribute to the contemporary loss of the grasslands. Now, grassland restoration aims to recover the diversity and ecosystem services. So, it is essential to restore the diversity of the grasslands. While restored grasslands may attain productivity comparable to native grasslands and sequester carbon for extended period, they typically support much less diversity than comparable native grasslands. Recovery of soil communities and property is often very slow. Now, how we could conserve our grasslands? This we can understand by understanding the basic biology and ecology of grasses. Grasslands are species rich ecosystem with a variety of life forms, including annual, biennial and perennial plant species. Okay. So, grasslands contain large amount of flora, namely annual, biennial and perennial plant species. These are the flora which can be found in the grasslands. The defining plant species are the grasses. Okay. Grasslands are mainly consisting of grasses as the defining plant species, but apart from this they also contain biennial, perennial and annual plant species. These ecosystems also contain a diverse assemblage of other plant types, including herbaceous plants which are non-grasses, sages, wetland plants and woody plants, namely shrubs and trees. So, grasslands not only contain the grasses, they are also made of biennial, perennial and annual trees. Apart from this, they also contain shrubs. They also contain other assemblage of plants. The high rates and amount of growth by grasses in grassland may be attributable to their unique morphology and physiology. Many grasslands are disturbance rich ecosystem existing in locations that are typically experience frequent or wide swing changes in weather, location. Weather changes could be daily, weekly or monthly. A variable climatic shifts over a long period of time, which could be drought, which could be flood, and forces like fire and activity of grazers, large grazers. Grassland has adapted to these forces over evolutionary length of time. Okay. Our grasslands have evolved over the climatic factors like droughts and floods, like decreasing or increased rainfalls, like fire, like razors. Okay. The development pattern, morphology and physiology of the grasslands make them suitable to the grassland environments. Now, let us look into the types of grasslands. What are the various types of grasslands? So, grasslands can be divided into two major types. Grasslands, first we will discuss about the grasslands found in the world. Okay. So, the grasslands in the world can be divided into two major types, tropical and subtropical grasslands. Tropical grasslands and subtropical grasslands. Subtropical grasslands, subtropical grasslands also known as savanna, and temperate grasslands. Tropical grasslands, subtropical grasslands also known as savanna and temperate grasslands. So, grasslands are majorly or broadly classified globally into three types: tropical grasslands, subtropical or the savanna grasslands, and the temperate grasslands. Now, let us look into detail about each of these types of grasslands. Tropical grasslands are close to the equator and remain warm throughout the year around. They are marked with dry and wet seasons that discourage the creation of forests. Okay. Tropical savanna, they have higher temperature, they remain warm throughout the year, they are marked by dry and wet seasons. Tropical savanna occurs in Africa. Tropical savanna is mainly found in Africa. India, Australia, South America and Indonesia also contain the tropical grasslands. These areas, that is Africa, India, Australia, South America and Indonesia, they have well drained soils with only a thin layer of humus, often located in the transitional region between the rainforest and the desert. So, this is the reason why tropical grasslands are found in these areas, namely India, Indonesia, Africa, South America and Australia. Moving on to temperate grasslands. Temperate grasslands have less rainfall, which is only between 25 to 90 centimeters. When compared to tropical grasslands, the temperate grasslands have lesser rainfall. They also have much greater range of temperatures from winter to summer. Like the temperate forests, temperate grasslands also have varying difference in temperature. There is a good summer with high temperature and a very good winter with very low temperatures. So, they undergo hot summer and cold winters with moderate rainfall when compared to the tropical grasslands. These interior grasslands are distinguished by deep rooting perennial tall grasses. The temperate grasslands have tall grasses comparatively when compared to the tropical grasslands. They have deep rooted tall grasses which bear flowers. They also contain herbs with very few shrubs and trees. Okay. So, tropical grasslands have very few shrubs and trees. Due to their rich fertile soil and favorable climate, many of these ecosystems have been converted to agricultural production or ranching. There are two broad types of grassland in temperate latitudes, namely prairie and steppe grasslands. Prairie grasslands. What are these prairie grasslands? Prairie grasslands are found across the globe. They have a variety of names in other parts of the world. For example, Pampas in South America, Veldt in South Africa, Puzza in Hungary. These areas have deep rich soils and are dominated by tall grasses, trees and shrubs. They are restricted to rivers, valleys, wetlands and other areas with more amount of moisture. Over the years, the native grass species on the extensive areas of level ground have been ploughed and fields have been seeded. Many of these grasslands have been lost to cereal crops. Steppe grasslands, they receive only 25 to 50 centimeters of rainfall each year, and the grasses are much shorter than those in prairie grasslands. They are also not as widespread, occurring only in Central and Eastern Europe. Northern Eurasia and Western North America, montane grasslands are located above the tree line. The biome here include high altitude grasslands and shrublands around the world. Now, let us see the types of grasslands in India. Grassland forms a variety of ecosystem that are located in different climatic conditions, ranging from near desert conditions to patches of shola grasslands that occur on hill slopes alongside the extremely moist evergreen forest in South India. In the Himalayan mountains, these are the high cold Himalayan pastures. There are tracts of tall elephant grass in the low-lying Terai belt south of Himalayan foothills. There are semi-arid grasslands in western India, parts of central India and in the Deccan plateau. This is Himalayan pasture belt, as you can see, Himalayan pasture belt. The Himalayan pasture belt extends up to the snow line. The grasslands at a lower level form patches along with coniferous or broad-leaved forests. Himalayan wildlife require both the forest and the grassland ecosystem as important parts of their habitat. The animals migrate up into the high altitude grasslands in summer and move down into the forest in winter when the snow covers the grassland. These Himalayan pastures have a large variety of grasses and herbs. Himalayan hill slopes are covered with thousands of colorful flowering plants. There are also large number of medicinal plants here. Next, moving on to the Terai. The Terai consists of patches of tall grasslands interspersed with a sal forest ecosystem. Okay. So, after the Himalayan pasture belt, the type of grassland in India, Terai is one of them. The Terai consists of patches of tall grasslands interspersed with the sal forest ecosystem. As it can be seen here, large or tall grasses are interspersed between the sal trees. These are the sal forest ecosystem. So, there are tall grasses in between the sal forest ecosystem. The patches of tall elephant grass which grows to a height of about 5 meters. This can grow to a height of about 5 meters. These are also known as elephant grass. Elephant grass. Okay. They move up to a height of about 5 meters. They are located in the low-lying waterlogged areas. The sal forest patches cover the elevated regions of the Himalayan foothills. The Terai also include marshes in the low-lying depressions. This ecosystem extends as a belt south of the Himalayan foothills. So, the location of this is south of the Himalayan foothills. After Terai grassland and Himalayan pasture belt, the third type of grassland which is found in our Indian subcontinent is semi-arid grassland. The semi-arid plains of western India, central India and the Deccan are covered by grassland tracts with patches of thorn forests. Okay. Several mammals such as the wolves, the black buck, the chinkara and birds such as bustards, florikins are adapted to these arid conditions. So, the semi-arid grasslands, as the name suggests, where rainfall is sparse, where rainfall is very scarce, in such regions, namely in the plains of the western Ghats of India, namely in the plains of the western Ghats of India, the central India and the Deccan. Okay. So, three major parts of India, that is western plains of India, the central India and the Deccan, the semi-arid grasslands are found. They are covered by grassland tracts with patches of thorn forests. So, semi-arid grassland forms a part of thorn forest ecosystem. Thorn forest ecosystem. Now, they are adapted to the semi-arid or less rainfall or dry regions. The scrub lands of the Deccan Plateau are covered by seasonal grasses. Okay. So, the Deccan Plateau are covered by seasonal grasses and herbs on which fauna is dependent. It is teeming with insects life on which the insectivorous birds could feed. Okay. So, semi-arid grassland, as I already stated, is found in western Ghats of India, central India and Deccan Plateau. These grasses or these grasslands are dependent upon the rainfall. Okay. So, seasonal grasses are found in these semi-arid grasslands. These grasslands have a large number of flora and fauna though, but they are teemed with insects, so that the insectivorous birds could feed on these system. The next form of grassland which is found in India is Shola grasslands. The Shola grasslands consists of patches on hill slopes along with the Shola forest on the western Ghats, Nilgiri and the Annamalai ranges. This forms a patchwork of grassland on the slopes and forest habitats along the stream and low lying areas. These grasslands are not restricted only to the low rainfall areas. Certain grassland types form when clearings are made in different forest types. Some are located on the higher steep hill slopes with patches of forest that occurs along the stream and in depressions. These grasslands are related to repeated fires that do not permit the forest to grow. The grasses are the major producers of biomass in the region. Each of these grassland ecosystem has a wide variety of species of grasses and herbs. Some grass and herb species are more sensitive to excessive grazing and suppressed if the area is overgrazed. So, this is an example of Shola grassland. So, how are grasslands used? Grasslands are grazing areas of many rural communities. Farmers who keep cattle or goats as well as shepherds who keep sheep are highly dependent on the grasslands. Domestic animals are grazed in the common land of the village. Fodder is collected and stored to feed cattle when there is no grass left for them to graze in summer. Grass is also used to thatch houses and farm sheds. The thorny bushes and branches of the few trees that are seen in the grasslands are used as a major source of fuel wood. Overgrazing by huge herds of domestic livestock has degraded many grasslands. Grasslands have diverse species of insects that pollinate crops. They are also predators of these insects such as small animals like reptiles, lizards, birds, few amphibia such as frogs and toads. All these carnivorous animals help to control insects and pests in adjoining agricultural land. The various components of a grassland include abiotic substances, primary producers, consumers and decomposers. Among abiotic components, We have carbon dioxide, water, nitrates, phosphates and sulfates. Among the primary producers, we have autotrophs like green plants that are capable of structural institutions. Then we have consumers, which are namely herbivores, insects, carnivores, etc. Then we have decomposers, which are namely fungi and molds. Example could be Penicillium, Aspergillus, Rhizopus, etc. How can we conserve these grasslands? By stopping overgrazing. It is better to collect the grass for stall feeding cattle. A part of the grassland in an area must be closed every year so that a rotational grazing pattern is observed. To product the most natural and undisturbed grassland ecosystem, sanctuaries and national parks must be created. Their management should focus on preserving all their unique species of plants and animals. They should not be converted into plantations of trees. The open grassland is the habitat of specialized fauna. So, planting trees in this area reduces the natural features of the ecosystem. So, with this awareness to preserve our grasslands, we end our class. Thank you.